The headlines are full of conflict news from the Middle East, warships, threats, deadlines, and you might think it's a problem for generals and diplomats, happening far away. But what is unfolding in the Strait of Hormuz is not just a military crisis, it is an economic one. It's about your money, the price you pay for gas, the cost of your groceries, and the stability of your retirement savings. This isn't a distant problem that you can afford to ignore. Its effects are already starting to ripple across the globe, and they are heading straight for your household budget and your long-term financial plans. I am going to explain the situation in simple words. We will not get lost in military jargon or complex economic theories. The goal here is to be clear, calm, and practical. We will break down exactly why this narrow strip of water is so important, how its closure affects fuel, how it affects food. So, what exactly is the Strait of Hormuz? Imagine a giant hourglass. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Iraq. The Persian Gulf is the top half, the rest of the world is the bottom half. The Strait of Hormuz is the tiny, narrow neck in the middle. It's the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. It is a critical choke point for global trade. Every single day, about 20 million barrels of oil pass through this channel. That is 1 out of every 5 barrels consumed on the planet. This single waterway is the main export route for some of the world's largest oil producers. When that route is open, the global economy hums along. Factories get the energy they need. Goods can be shipped around the world. Prices remain relatively stable. But right now, that is not what is happening. As of today, Iran has prohibited vessels from major economies from passing through. They're reportedly charging some ships millions for safe passage. This isn't a slowdown, it's a blockade. The flow has been reduced to a trickle. The IEA calls it the largest supply disruption in history. This problem has been building for a while. Failed nuclear negotiations. The air conflict that started on February 28, 2026. The situation has escalated dramatically. President Trump set a deadline of April 6 for Iran to reopen the strait. The standoff continues. When a major source of oil is suddenly cut off, the first and most obvious effect is that the price of oil goes up. A lot. It's simple supply and demand. The world still needs the same amount of oil, but there is suddenly less of it to go around. Buyers are forced to bid against each other, driving the price up for everyone. We have already seen Brent crude soar from around $75 a month ago to over $107 today. Some analysts are warning prices could hit $150 per barrel or even higher. This isn't just a number on a trader's screen, it's the start of a painful economic domino effect. Flowchart, blockade, oil prices, shipping costs, consumer prices. The first domino to fall is transportation costs. Higher oil prices mean it costs more to make gasoline, diesel, jet fuel. This hits you directly at the gas pump, but it also increases the cost for every company that moves goods. Trucks delivering food to your grocery store, cargo ships bringing electronics from Asia, airplanes carrying passengers and packages. When their fuel costs rise, they pass that extra cost on to their customers. This means the price of almost everything that needs to be shipped, which is almost everything you buy, starts to creep up. Let's bring this down from the 30,000-foot view to your kitchen table. How does a conflict thousands of miles away actually affect your daily life and your monthly budget? The most immediate and visible impact will be at the gas station. With oil prices over $100 a barrel, you should be prepared to see gas prices climb significantly in the coming weeks. In some parts of the country, like California, prices are already approaching $9 a gallon. This makes your daily commute more expensive. Every family trip, every drive to the store, every school run. Beyond gasoline, your utility bills are also likely to rise. Many power plants run on natural gas, and its price often moves with oil. The cost of heating your home, especially with natural gas or heating oil, will also increase. These are not optional expenses, they are necessities. When the cost of keeping the lights on and staying warm goes up, it squeezes the budget for everything else. For families on a tight budget, these increases can be incredibly painful, forcing difficult choices between paying an energy bill and buying other essentials. This is how a geopolitical crisis can directly impact a family's quality of life. So far, we have been talking about the effects of a naval blockade, but military and political leaders are discussing other options, and it's important to understand what they could mean. The United States, UK, France, Japan have expressed a readiness to use military force to reopen the strait. This could involve direct attacks on Iranian naval assets, coastal missile sites, military facilities. If these actions fail to resolve the crisis, there is talk of more drastic measures. A ground invasion to seize control of key Iranian islands or coastal areas that command the strait. If a ground invasion were to occur, the economic consequences would likely be far more severe and long-lasting. The immediate market reaction would likely be a severe shock. Stock markets around the world could plummet as investors flee from the uncertainty and risk of a major regional war. At the same time, oil prices could spike dramatically, potentially well beyond the 150 per barrel mark, as the market prices in the risk of a long-term disruption and the potential for the conflict to spread. The medium-term risk is that the conflict doesn't stay contained. A ground invasion of Iran could draw other regional powers into the fight. This could destabilize the entire Middle East, a region that is absolutely central to global energy production. A wider regional war would not just disrupt the 20 million barrels a day from the Strait of Hormuz, it could threaten production in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and other key producers. This would create an energy crisis of unprecedented proportions, leading to sustained high inflation, a deep global recession, and years of economic instability. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned the consequences could be comparable to the COVID pandemic. This is the worst-case scenario, and it is crucial to state that it is not inevitable. However, it is a very real possibility that financial markets are beginning to consider. Now let's connect all of this directly to your retirement savings. You might have a 401k, an IRA, or another investment account. When a major crisis like this hits, financial markets become very volatile. Stocks can fall sharply, investors get nervous about future corporate profits and economic growth. We've seen this pattern in past oil shocks. In the short term, markets hate uncertainty, and a war in the Middle East is the definition of uncertainty. Your account balance, which you have spent years building, could drop by 20%, 30% in a matter of weeks or months. If you're young with decades until retirement, this is less of a concern. They have time for the market to recover. But if you're close to retirement or already retired, this volatility is a special and dangerous threat. The danger has a name: sequence of returns risk, or simply sequence risk. The order of gains and losses matters a great deal when you start withdrawing money. A big market drop at the start of retirement can do permanent damage. Here's a simple example. Imagine Sarah and Tom both retire with a $500,000 portfolio and plan to withdraw $25,000 a year. Sarah's first year, the market crashes 20%. Her portfolio falls to $400,000. She withdraws $25,000 down to $375,000. Now her portfolio must work much harder. Tom's first year, the market rises 20%. His portfolio goes to $600,000. He withdraws $25,000, leaving $575,000. He's in a much stronger position. Even with the same average returns over 20 years, Sarah is at much higher risk of running out of money. That early loss plus withdrawals creates a deep hole. You're forced to sell when prices are low, locking in losses. This is the sequence risk trap. The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz has increased the odds of a market downturn, a clear and present danger for anyone planning to tap retirement funds soon. So, how do you defend against this sequence risk? The single most effective strategy is to build a cash buffer. This is your first and most important line of defense. A cash buffer is simply a stash of money, held in a safe and easily accessible place like a high-yield savings account or a money market fund, set aside specifically to cover your living expenses. This is not your long-term investment money. It is your short-term survival fund. Its purpose is to let you pay bills without selling investments when the market is down. How large should this buffer be? A good target is 24 months' worth of essential living expenses in cash. If you can save more, up to 36 months, that provides even greater security. Sit down and calculate what you need per month. Mortgage or rent, utilities, food, insurance, other non-negotiable costs. Then multiply that number by 24. This is your target. If Sarah had a 2-year cash buffer of $50,000, she wouldn't have needed to touch her investment portfolio when it dropped 20%. She could have paid expenses from cash for a year or two. That gives the portfolio time to recover without withdrawals. By avoiding selling low, she preserves capital and benefits from the rebound. The cash buffer acts as a shock absorber for your financial plan. Make building this buffer your top priority if you're near retirement or planning a big purchase. That might mean selling some investments now, while the market hasn't fully reacted, to raise cash. You're not timing the market, you're buying insurance. You're trading some potential growth for certainty and stability. In a volatile environment, certainty is priceless. This is a deliberate move to de-risk money you'll need soon. Once you have your cash buffer in place, there are several other smart, practical steps you can take to navigate this period of uncertainty. The key is to act calmly and strategically, not to panic. First, be thoughtful about withdrawals. If the market does take a significant dive, avoid making large discretionary withdrawals if you can. If you were planning to take out a big lump sum to buy a boat, consider postponing that plan. If you were planning to fund an expensive vacation, consider postponing that plan. Flexibility is a huge advantage. The more you can control when you take money out, the more you can protect yourself from sequence risk. Second, keep your long-term money invested. It can be tempting to see the storm clouds gathering and want to sell everything and run to the perceived safety of cash. This is almost always a mistake. History has shown time and again that markets recover from crises. The people who suffer the most are often those who sell in a panic near the bottom and then miss the rebound. Let's be perfectly clear. The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz represents one of the most significant economic risks the world has faced since the oil shocks of the 1970s. The disruption to the global energy supply is real and is already causing prices to rise. This has the potential to fuel inflation, slow economic growth, and create significant volatility in financial markets for months, or even years, to come. Ignoring this reality would be foolish. But succumbing to fear is equally dangerous, as it leads to poor decisions that can inflict permanent damage on your financial future. The proper response is not panic, but preparation. You have the power to take control of your financial situation and make it more resilient. The priorities are straightforward. First and foremost, protect your near-term needs. Your primary goal should be to build a cash buffer of 24 to 36 months of essential living expenses. This is your shield against sequence risk. It allows you to ride out a market storm without being forced to sell your investments at the worst possible time, giving your portfolio the breathing room it needs to recover. Beyond that, the steps are logical and measured. Be strategic and flexible with any planned withdrawals, delaying large optional ones if possible. Keep your long-term money invested to capture the eventual rebound, but consider a modest reduction in overall risk to cushion any potential blows. Stress test your plan against a tougher economic environment to identify and fix any weaknesses before they become a crisis. These are not drastic, all-or-nothing moves. They are calm, deliberate adjustments designed to increase your financial security in an uncertain world. No one knows exactly how this crisis will end. It could be resolved through diplomacy next week, or it could escalate into a wider conflict that reshapes the global economy for decades. In the face of that uncertainty, you must focus on what you can control. You can control your spending. You can control your savings rate. You can control how your assets are allocated. By taking these clear, practical steps today, you are not trying to predict the future. You are building a financial plan that is robust enough to succeed regardless of what the future holds. That is the surest path to protecting your retirement and achieving peace of mind.